Hello, everyone. Jason Hagholm here. I am joined today by Richie Lewis, also known as Richie Savage, who will return to the Titan FC cage February the 18th to take on Jason Russell. Richie's one of the hottest prospects going on right now. Richie, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. Got some great training in. Got a little shiner from my fight. I feel like a beat before he knocked Connor out.
Well, you know what? You always sometimes got to bring those battle scars into your next fight. And obviously, Richie, it's got to be exciting for you to get a fight back going on in. And it seems like you had some trouble getting an opponent, but at least you're getting to fight.
Exactly, man. I'm gonna fight whoever they put up against me. So I'm just excited to fight and compete in front of my fans, in front of my family.
What areas have you kind of improved on? Because as we've seen in your first two fights with Titan, you have grown as a fighter, and obviously as well coming off a very impressive finish in your last fight. What areas would you say you've sharpened up as we head into this fight on February 18th?
I would say just my eyes have gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot sharper. Staying safe. I would say this distance control has been my number one thing that I've added. I'm able to apply my tactics now. Before I would go out and kind of brawl, but now I'm more comfortable on my feet, like I said, with the eyes. So I could see rather than avoiding, I could just step out of pocket, come back in, pop out, hit. And I think the transition from being a wrestler and jiu-jitsu to being an MMA grappler, I've got pretty down packed, man. Having Kami Barzini, and he's on the Ultimate Fighter right now with Amanda. They just announced he's the wrestling coach, and Greg Jones have really helped me transition my wrestling style into MMA. I've done jiu-jitsu for a couple of years with John Donaher at Hensel Grace Academy, and I kind of would apply my jiu-jitsu on the ground. And now I kind of learned how to apply that world champion wrestling style as well as my jiu-jitsu on the ground for MMA. And I think between that and the striking to the takedowns and just being able to threaten the takedown and now threaten the strikes is going to open up a whole new world for me.
Yeah, obviously, with your wrestling credentials and your ground credentials, you definitely want to evolve that. How long would you say you kind of, figured out how to change up your wrestling for your grappling to your striking, as you just touched on?
So I think that I had it for like maybe since even my last fight, I was not bad, but really I've only been fighting for about 16 or 17 months.
Yeah.
So I think that it kind of took this past 3 months since I've gone to Sanford to really make that change, because there's definitely a different pace from the regional scene to the UFC or One or Bellator. There's a much different pacing, and now I'm in the room with these top level guys, world champions, top 15 contenders, and all different organizations, and having that pace and whatnot has really helped my level grow in that aspect.
Who's you kind of did touch on, obviously you've been, who have you really been working on with to get ready for this fight on February 18th?
So as far as coaches, man, I've been working with obviously Dieter Navarro, my technical analysis right here, Jerry.
So
and then Greg Jones and Henry Hooft, as far as coaches, that they've really been on me. Training partner wise, I go a lot with Jared Gordon and Sean Soriano, and Sean Soriano is kind of taking a mentor figure in my life where he's being a training partner, but also really coaching me, because that dude can fight, man, and he has a very similar style to what I like. So
what has he been teaching you? What has Soriano been teaching you about life, I guess, Richie?
Man, it's funny because we're friends and everything, but when we're in the gym, man, I go to the gym, I show up, I practice, and I kind of get out of there. I bullshit a little bit, but I'm just super focused right now. And when I went there, we kind of knew that I was fighting. I've only been there for 3 months, so it's kind of been very, very, very business forward and get in there and get the job done. And that's kind of how the camaraderie is built. As far as technical analysis, man, he's quick. He moves on angles. He is very good with his foot position. He's very good at looks like he's skiing when he's fighting. He's up knee, right, left hook, like back to back, and really cementing those angles, but flowing. And he's kind of been showing me how to activate my body in those kind of ways, and what comes after the strike. So if I throw a right knee, what is going to be there? Is a step out going to be there? Is a hook going to be there? Just very small technical stuff that he's been helping me a lot with.
And has there been kind of as well a bond outside of the cage where sometimes you kind of need that, where sure, yeah, it's great to have someone that's taking you under winter for what you can do, the X's and O's inside, a mixed martial arts fight, but taking him with his experience from being around the world, that's got to be a huge benefactor for you going forward. As you said, you are so young in your career.
Yeah, so man, I feel like I've only been there for 3 months, and I've shown a lot of who I am as not only a fighter but a person. And I think there's an unspoken bond and an unspoken respect that I have with the coaches and the guys that I just mentioned. As far as an outside the gym thing, I'm normally with Jerry or I'm with my coach Dieter, and then my main training partners that moved with me or I moved with them to Sanford was Landry Ward, undefeated prospect, Angel Alvarez, undefeated prospect. And those are more of the guys that I talk to outside the gym, and I get my kind of bonding with them. So,
last thing on the training, what's it like training there with Henry Huft over at Stanford MMA? Because that right now is like one of the top gyms in all of mixed martial arts.
It's a great experience, man, and I'm learning a lot. We go hard, as you can see. I got a little shiner on me,
Yeah.
but it's smart work. It's not brawling. It's technical. It's savvy. It's chaining. It's mindset. We get a lot of different looks. You get Nick Lenson there coaching one day, and it's wow, go 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 go. You get Henry in there. It's that H kickboxing, bang 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 style. Guys like Tyrone Sprong pull me to the side and they say, hey, they have more of that Cuban boxing style where I'm getting all these different looks, man, and it's just the experience and expertise in that room has been really good, and those guys have really taken I don't know, a liking to me, but those guys really taking care of me. I'm garnering a lot of attention there, and it's a really good feeling to have the best coaches and best training partners in the world really see that. It gives me some validation and makes me excited to go to practice every day. Knowing I'm a big believer in human development and I study it. And in order to get better, you need people like that to put their time and resources into you. So that was my main thing going into Sanford was, am I going to be able to garner these people's attention? Am I going to be able to have them share their resources with me? And I hit the nail on the head, and I see it playing out perfectly, man. I'm excited.
Well, Richie, as we look forward to this fight here with Jason Russell coming up, obviously he's taking this on short notice, but is it kind of nice for you to just, kind of focus on yourself and not really get kind of caught up in a little bit of bad blood as there was in your last fight against Ernesto Rodriguez?
Yeah, so I think my first two fights were some of my hardest fights, even though the kid I fought first was only had 2 wins, like 3 losses. He wasn't even 500, but it was my first fight. I only been training for 4 or 5 months. So I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, I'm going out there to fight. Like, I wrestled a bunch, but this is different. And as you can see, it went 3 rounds. I broke his orbital in the first round, and the dude kept getting up and kept wanting to strike with me. So that was an experience. And then the second one, obviously, was bad blood. And the dude was 7-0. He 4 or 5-0 amateur, 2-0 pro, big prospect out of Extreme Couture. I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I needed that for my career. And it really showed me who I was. And it showed not so much me who I was, but it showed the world that I'm a real prospect. You get these kids that come up and sure they're talented, but they get headbutting at the nose broke. They can't come back. They get tired, they fucking fold. And that's not who I am. I'm a dog. Not only am I intelligent, but I'm a fucking dog, man. My dad get up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning, blue collar worker. And I have that white collar mentality and that blue collar mentality when I need to. And those fights were very intense for me, but now everything's starting to slow down. So even if I did fight a guy like that again, I kind of have that experience. I got to see a lot of cage time and a lot of different looks inside of those 2 fights. My first fight, I got tired after the first. I had to keep my composure. I had to learn how to wrestle, in those positions. In the second fight, I got tired a little bit because it was a brawl. It was a war. I broke my nose. I say, okay, I got to knock this guy out. And having those feelings gave me a lot of confidence for this next fight to know what to prepare for, as well as now moving to Sanford and having that high pace like I was talking about earlier. I'm going to know what to do. It's not going to be a surprise. So really, whoever I fight from here on out, I've been put in a lot of adversity and a lot of hard situations to where I'm going to be able to know how to handle it. And I'm kind of excited now because instead of it being like, I don't want to say a coin flip, but if instead of it being a game with unpredictable odds, now it's a game where I can play. It's like playing chess your first 10 times, you're kind of moving the pieces around and you're like, oh, is this a good move? Is that a good move? But now I'm able to think 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead and maybe a round ahead and get tactics, understand the feeler and still be comfortable there. Where before it was kind of just reaction. So I'm excited to show that new skill set.
And as you kind of touched on in your first fight, you had to go through some adversity and that fight went the distance. Do you think that was a blessing in disguise as, now you prepare for just your third fight as a professional?
Yeah, I think it really was, man. And like I said, people say, oh, don't look past nobody, don't look past nobody. I don't really look past people, but I knew I was going to win that fight, but I didn't know that it was going to go three rounds like that. And my coach said, that was one of the best things for you. And the same thing he said after that's the fight, that was one of the best things for you, because when you face adversity, it shows you who you are and then it prepares you for the future. And when I'm faced with it, I take it head on.
And, Richie, I think when, you're coming out of the wrestling background, I've spent some time at Rutgers University and competed at the highest level in the NCAA in that Big Ten program. What was the decision really to turn pro? And we're seeing these high level wrestlers, like a Bo Nickel going amateur first and then building themselves up. You just went right in the deep end head first. And we're like, I'm going to be a professional mixed martial artist. And it's working out, obviously. And you've shown growth in each time out.
Well, man, I don't got time to waste. I'm very tactical, and this is how I'm playing my hand. I knew I wanted to be a UFC world champion from the time I was 13. Really, more so 11, 12 when I would watch Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. But growing up in Toms River, New Jersey, Frank Yeager won that belt when I was a freshman, and we had a watch party. And when he won that belt and seeing his name up in the room every day, I kind of knew, this is what I want to do. And I had that in the back of my head. I knew I was great at wrestling, but I didn't really love it. Wrestling was more of like it's hard, yeah, but it's more like a ritzy sport, where like people with money play it. And it was always kind of hard for me to fit in with these guys, and it's like, you be humble, you do this, you work every day, you grind. And I'm more of a intellectual thinker, So I didn't really love it, but I was very good at it. And it gave me the opportunities that I have today. But I always knew this was my path, and this was what God wanted me to do, and this is my destiny. And that's why I made that decision. I'm not here to play any games. I'm here to win belts, and I'm here to win fights, and I'm here to make a fuck ton of money.
And that's so far off to the right track. And what do you know about your opponent here, Jason Russell, as he is coming on short notice to take on, yourself?
I'm gonna put him to sleep. That's about it.
You're not one of those guys that looks at tape or anything like that. Just kind of focus on yourself.
Yeah, so I look at tape. I have a team that looks at tape. I really don't even pick my fights, man. I have a trusted team that does that for me, and they kind of tell me what I need for my career, and I'm able to go in and focus on developing. I think I'm a big tape watcher when it comes down to it, but for right now, I think I'm more so focused on my development than anything. And I feel prime, I feel strong, I feel quick. And this dude's not gonna throw nothing at me that I'm not seeing fighting these guys at Sanford. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's as we said, one of the best gyms in all of MMA. And, you've made your base here in the regional scene with Titan FC, obviously on Fight Pass. You're getting some good looks with the promotion on there, one of the most viewed promotions. What's it like, being a part of Titan FC, especially with the crowds at these shows? There's some of the most wild and loudest crowds going on. And, obviously you got to hear that roar when you had to finish in your last fight. So, what was the decision to sign with Titan? And, going forward that's going to be your regional journey.
I kind of want to just get somewhere where I could have a promotion, but this is the fight business, man. It's basically like we're living in Hollywood, that's what it is. Everyone's out to make $1. Everyone's out to make money off of you. Everyone's out to make money for themselves. And so kind of how I build out my team is, people say don't do this, but I really only like to do business with friends and family. A lot of people don't, but that's just my personal preference, because if you want to handle something in my life, I have to be able to trust you on a deeper level. And I was able to build what I feel like that with Lex McMahon, the guy who runs the promotion.
Yeah.
And, I said, you want me to sign a four fight contract with you? I'm going to win my belt here and you'll get me off to the UFC. He has a list of guys he was doing it for. I was friends with guys that have fought in his promotion and he's a good man. So I said, you know what? In business, sometimes you got to go in a little bit blind and trust somebody. And that's exactly what I did at Titan FC. And it's clearly really working out for me,
Absolutely is. Obviously, everything in your career is working out for you right now, Richie. And as well, I've was watching some interviews you've done before. You're big into the crypto NFT world right now, and that's taking off right now. I don't know anything about it. Got any advice for someone that wants to get into that right now, Richie?
Yeah. So my advice would be, stick to like top 10, top 20 coins and then load them into like a yield program. So stake earning like a Celsius or a BlockFi. So basically they loan the money out and then you get the money back. It's like a bank, but instead of the bank taking the profit, you're making a profit. It's actually, I think it's a generational wealth builder that's not going to be available much longer. And it's also extremely safe, right? Because you're not investing into extremely volatile assets or trying to make quick money off of pump and dumps. You're going to invest long term into an asset like Bitcoin or like Ethereum or, not financial advice, but you could even put the US dollar in there and earn, 9% a year compounded. And you could also take loans on that. So like, let's just say I have $100,000 in Bitcoin. I get a 50% or 40% loan to value, have exposure to Bitcoin, the asset, and then get $50,000 cash and invest it in whatever else you want to.
Well, Richie, you're blowing my mind with all of this talk, but you're definitely involved in that world right now, which is very nice to see. And as well, while that world is taking off, your career is taking off. And as we wind this down here, Richie, floor is yours. Plug yourself. Where can people find you on Instagram and social media? As we're just about a week or 10 days away from the fight.
Richie Savage on Instagram. Aper Fitness is my clothing brand. And then we got a sick project coming out called Art Gateway. It's going to be a play to earn NFT on the blockchain. So basically, when you play the game, you get validated through the NFTs. And then when you play the game, you earn tokens or you earn NFTs. You basically earn money that you can spend in the game or you cash it out. Plus you get artwork, etc. And we got some world champions from some of the bigger organizations that we have signed on board. We got Rodrigo Lorenzo. He's an artist that just got signed to One, but he does stuff for Counter, Izzy, Paradigm, and whatnot. And it's a pretty big project. So it's called Art Gateway, and be on the lookout for that.
Definitely will be on the lookout for that. And we'll be on the lookout February 18th as Richie Savage steps back into the Titan FC cage to take on Jason Russell. Richie, thank you for the time and best of luck come February 18th.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.